and welcome back to the review realm. It's Sienna, and today we are going to be talking about Final Destination Bloodlines. I just got out of the theater, and I am a really big fan of the Final Destination movies. They're my guilty pleasure. I really enjoy them so much, and I did do a previous video where I ranked all of the Final Destination movies and my thoughts on them if you want to know my thoughts, but this video is just going to be about Final Destination Bloodlines. Now, this will contain no spoilers, just a very brief synopsis of how this movie starts, and all this information you can find in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler, but if that is considered a spoiler to you, you have been warned. Now, before we get to it, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So Final Destination Bloodlines starts in the 1960s, and a restaurant is opening called Skyview, and you go up a really tall elevator, and it's a skinny building that then opens up to be a restaurant. It's super high in the air, and this lady named Iris ends up getting a premonition that this building, the glass, it has a glass floor, it's going to break, all these people are going to die, there's going to be an explosion. She ends up saving everyone that was at this restaurant. Well, because she ends up saving everyone at this restaurant, death is now after everyone. There's so many people in this restaurant that death has to kill that it takes years, and eventually these people go on to have kids and grandkids. Well, now we are transported into modern day, and Iris is a grandma, and everyone thinks she's cuckoo, thinking that death is after their family. But she is not cuckoo. Death is after the family because they should not even be alive, because Iris should have died at the restaurant Skyview. So that is the main premise of where this film takes off. Now, the beginning where you see the Skyview restaurant, I didn't mind it. I liked the use of the colors to really differentiate it, and how it sort of used the 1960s as a good starting point in this accident. Now, I did think some of the death scenes within this first premonition could have been a little better, but overall it was fine. Now, as the movie progresses and you're in modern day, we do see this family and different family dynamics between cousins and siblings and the parents, which there are some funny moments in this film, especially if you do have a family. But overall, this film could have been way shorter. I think it could have cut out at least 30 minutes, if not longer. They could have really trimmed things up. I also have another problem with this film, and it's the death scenes. They were so caught up trying to make the audience understand what's going on and the different family dynamic, which they did an okay job at, but by the time it got to the death scenes, one, they were somewhat close together. I think they could have been more close together, so you really felt the anticipation that death was moving quick. He wanted these people gone, but there was some breaks in between some of the death scenes that made it feel like death was just taking his sweet time, which did bother me a little bit. And in these death scenes, more than one people died. So we were getting maybe one death scene and a couple people would die. So it just made this film seem rushed, that they weren't really taking their time with these death scenes, being creative. I think there are a couple of the death scenes that I did like, and I was like, okay, this is pretty creative. This is a little different than what we've seen from the other films in this franchise. Now, this film does seem like almost a love letter to the other Final Destination films, especially the first one and the second one. There's a lot of callbacks, and they do the same callback multiple times. I would have loved if they would have done more callbacks from the film, not use the same. For example, in the first Final Destination film, a car gets stuck on a railroad track. Well, we see a car drive over a railroad track 2 times during this film. You know, they could have done it once, which the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's cool. But they ended up doing it twice, and by the second time, you're like, okay, I see what they're doing there. Same with the log truck. We see that multiple times throughout the film. So there is definitely little Easter eggs if you are a fan of this franchise, but overall, they could have added more Easter eggs, done it a little different, especially for the hardcore fans. But this film was just okay. I would say this is probably my least favorite Final Destination film. It's not the worst film I've ever seen, and overall, I still really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it if you are a Final Destination fan. But let me know if you're gonna go see it, or if you have, let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below, and have a great day. Bye!